Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Cameron, VSBA's Director of Public Policy. VSBA continues to monitor legislation that affects school boards across the state. Be sure to watch for legislative alerts in your email asking for your help with action items during the legislative session. As always, links are embedded within today's blog post and can be accessed in the written blog text on our website. To prepare for crossover, legislative committees are working to vote out all Senate and House bills, which must be reported out of the last committee of reference by Friday, March 12th. Bills referred to the committees on Appropriations, Finance, and Ways and Means must be reported out by the last of those committees by Friday, March 19th. Last week, the House passed H-81, a bill addressing statewide school employee health benefits. On the floor, Representative Beck proposed an amendment, which was voted down by the House General Committee and the full House. Next, Representative Laura Sibilia interrogated the presenter of the bill about how the bill would influence education spending and whether that cost would be equitable across the state. After the interrogation, Representative Sibilia made a motion that H-81 be referred to the House Education Committee. House Education Chair Webb responded by representing that a member of the House Ed Committee had been sitting in on the House General Committee room throughout the testimony, and that the House Education Committee does not see H-81 as an education bill, so she would not be voting to send the bill to her committee. A roll call vote was held and the result was 50 to 96. The House then moved on to voting on H-81 as amended by the House General Committee, which was version 2.1. A roll call vote was held and the result was 102 to 46. Third reading was ordered and the House passed H-81 on Wednesday, February 17th. On Friday, February 19th, the bill was read the first time in the Senate and referred to the Committee on Education. There has been recent discussion in the legislature regarding districts that pay tuition to approved independent schools. Legislative counsel Jim Demarais and Vermont Law School professor Peter Teachout have provided testimony to the Senate Education Committee and to the House Education Committee. There are links of these presentations and a link to the YouTube video available within the blog text. This draft bill is 21-0752, version 3.2. COVID response and education recovery discussions were prevalent last week. The Senate Education Committee heard joint testimony from VSBA, VPA, and Vermont NEA regarding guiding principles of education recovery, which include the following: equity. Every student deserves the resources and educational opportunities that they need to learn and thrive. The process of recovery is a long-term proposition with a duration of a minimum of 3 years. Existing policy and practice initiatives should contribute to the foundation of supporting the recovery. For example, Act 173, Act 77, multi-tiered systems of support, and educational support teams. Efforts to strengthen and expand existing policy and practice initiatives should reflect the dynamics revealed by the pandemic. State policymakers must allow maximum flexibility in local and regional use of monetary resources. Districts should engage with their school communities and keep them informed of their work related to the recovery process. Sufficient time, resources, and support must be provided for students who need to demonstrate a specific level of academic attainment in order to graduate or to be promoted to the next grade level. A core emphasis should be on reestablishing the community of school and reconnecting every student to that community. School communities cannot be expected to navigate the state's uncoordinated agencies and departments to acquire the essential services their students need. Utilization of existing and developing partnerships with local, regional, and state agencies should contribute to the foundation for supporting the recovery. In regions lacking sufficient capacity among local and regional agencies, the state must guarantee targeted support in the form of financial and human resources. Testimony from Deputy Secretary Heather Boucher on February 16th provided a high-level overview of the AOE's concepts for education recovery, which was defined as mitigating the impact of COVID-19 emergency on education and healthy development of our students, and ensuring that all students are doing well in 3 key domains: mental health and well-being, re-engagement and truancy, and academic success and achievement. Further, the AOE's Education Recovery Plan states that systems that strengthen several levers will result in successful implementation of Act 173 and recovery. Those levers are coordinated curriculum, education support teams, local comprehensive assessment systems, and a needs-based professional development system. A memo from the AOE to the Senate Education Committee provided 3 specific asks: a uniform school calendar to reduce complexity, enable better coordination of student services, and yield a range of additional positive follow-on effects. Policy changes to simplify Vermont's home study policy to make it more similar to that of other northern New England states, and also changing the role of the agency from an oversight role to more of a support role. And agreements among SUs to facilitate flexible student attendance by amending 16 VSA 267 to add the option for 2 or more SUs to exchange students who wish to attend a school on a non-resident basis. The language should include a minimum requirement to be included in such agreement in order to ensure non-discrimination and compliance with other laws. The Senate Committee on Agriculture has prioritized a Bill 21-0378, currently draft 5.1, which is an act relating to universal school breakfast and lunch, otherwise known as the Farm Fresh Schools Meals for All bill. This bill would require all Vermont public schools to provide breakfast and lunch to all students at no charge, and creates incentives for schools to purchase locally produced foods. The cost of the meals that are not reimbursed through federal or state funds would be borne by school districts, and transition grants would be available for school districts transitioning to universal meals. The bill removes the exemption process for schools that are unable to provide meals to students. The bill would also require school districts to collect household income information from all families in order to determine eligibility for federal and state programs. In addition to universal meals, this bill provides incentives to school districts to purchase locally produced foods for the school meals program and permits school boards to decide what foods to include in their definition of locally produced foods. The House Education Committee is currently working on its school facilities bill and is expected to approve a bill before the crossover deadline. Currently drafted as 21-0782 version 1.4, the emphasis of the bill under discussion is a comprehensive school facilities assessment that would be conducted by a third party and would provide information on the overall condition and needs of facilities for public school buildings across Vermont. The bill also envisions updated school facility standards, a new formula for providing school construction aid, and requirements for districts to designate a person responsible for school facilities and maintain a 5-year capital improvement and operations plan. The bill would further require the Secretary of Education to report on recommended funding sources for school construction projects considering the inventory, condition, and needs of school facilities in Vermont. As currently drafted, the bill would fund 2 positions at the Agency of Education to support this work. Thank you for staying connected and have a good night.